Right, so with a decent understanding of what the line is and why we're crossing it, let's continue with this edit. So, let's take a look at our script. Tom is distracted and watches them as they launch onto the skate park. Okay, cool. So we're looking for some footage of the skaters, and that would be this one here, 104701. This is a wide shot. Oh, someone falls over there. So we're probably going to want to reframe this as well. There's a lot of awkward action in the left-hand side here, where there's too many of them together. And where most of them appear to be tricking, which I don't actually know if that's the right term. They're doing skateboard stuff, whatever, I'm not Tony Hawk. Is this little lip here, where this guy in the white shirt has perched. So... okay, he messes that one up. And no, messes that one up. Messes that one up. We've not got a good take yet. Nope. Also people getting in the way. There, that's a good one. So... let's... and I've removed the audio from this one on your project because the problem with these guys in the skate park is that they swear constantly and just make stupid jokes and just say really out there things. So I've had to strip most of their audio away in order to meet Udemy's content guidelines. So if you're wondering why this take is silent, it's because they will not stop kind of screaming out the F word and laughing at each other. So I've had to remove that. Okay, so the eye here. Okay, so that's the full movement. I don't think we need to get all of that in there, but let's just take a closer look. So I'm going to Shift F12 that in. And now that it's down here, let's hit the abacus here, and I want to zoom this in and focus on this guy and his trick here. Okay, we've got a little bit of an awkward skateboard. I don't like that there. That's awkward. So let's... he pauses on a... is that a manual? I have no idea. I've not played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for years. I think I'm going to cut it there. And we can now cut back to Tom and George. So let's start looking at the different angles that we have. So I think I'm going to want a close-up of Tom. Let's just take a look at what we've got. Okay, I don't like the mid there. I think this close-up is good.
You can do this.
So we've got the director calling action here, but again, we can get rid of that in the second pass. I like this look. What I like about this, again, this goes back to our very reflective and melancholic pace of this edit. This is about Tom, it's about the, the emotional state he's in. And this is a really nice and poignant bit of the film where he's looking at this kind of symbol of what he wants and what he is prevented from having by this other guy living in the same bedsit as him. So, yeah, I want to focus on this. I want to focus on this kind of reflection here, and He's giving a fairly good look before action's even called, which is not uncommon in shots like this. Okay, and I like that movement of his eyes, because that looks like he's following someone as they skate along. So with a bit of sound design, we can add a grind of a skateboard as his eyes move along, so he's kind of following someone there.
You can do.
And then
You can do this.
I think I like that. I like focusing on Tom, even though it's George's line, and we may change our minds on that later, but let's just go with that for now. So again, we have action, we have, the crew all chatting around this. Again, over in the edit panel, we'll fix all of that, or you might if you go ahead to second pass this material. Let's see what we got.
You can do this.
Okay, so let's find a shot of George. Not quite. I think probably up here. And I like cutting to George. Just on that little emphatic look. It's always amusing when you end up doing this. Okay, just a little bit of a short shot on George because we're focusing on Tom in this scene. And we get an echo of this line.
You can do this.
And we can fix that later on. We might just so he starts to move, but again, we'll finesse that later.
Do this.
Right, let's go back to that take of Tom and see what we got.
You can do this. I used to. It's incredible.
Okay, cool. And let's just get that line in there.
It's here. I used to. It's here.
I like that little nod before he says it. So that's a nice basic edit there. We'll just put that in for the time being. Let's just take a look at this.
I used to.
Cool, I quite like the rhythm of that. I think that's quite good. So we can cut right back to our swearing skaters again, or let's just think about this, because we just go straight back to the skaters. I think we need to see George's reaction to what Tom just said, because what he's saying is clearly having an impact, and I think it's very important that we see his emotional reaction to that. So let's go back to one of the close-ups, or the close-up of George.
Incredible. I used to.
That's a really nice reaction there, so I definitely want to use that. And then before he says anything, I think we're just going to let his eye line drive this edit back to the skaters there. Let's see. And this one I think we can make a bit wider. There we go. I like this. I like this kind of all three of them going through. Because it just adds a bit of interest to the whole frame and justifies it being a wider shot. So cool. That might be a little bit long if I look at it. First off, let's just play around with this. And just a little bit further across there as well. And then it kind of peters out there, doesn't it? Let's see if we slip this back just a little bit. Okay, that guy kind of hovers around awkwardly at the edge, so I'll drag him over just so he kind of comes in and he's not half visible at any point. And then it just kind of peters out there, so hey. And just before they cut out, I think I'll cut there. Cool. Always remember to save. So the next line is George's. It's incredible. If I thought my hips were up to it, I'd definitely give it a go. And then Tom says, I really have to go. Okay, so that's back to the close-up of George. Now, I like staying on a close-up here, so let's... So let's see what we got here.
My hips were up to it, I'd definitely give it a go.
Okay. I'll shift F12, that's in there, and then I want a reaction shot of Tom laughing. Now, 1041:02. This one's silent. There's no audio to go with it, but there's no actual dialogue. There's a bit of a response. In fact, there is dialogue at the end there, but there was no audio on the drive that the client gave me for this one, so we could use it as a video cutaway if we like this reaction. Or better yet, we'll stick to 4101.
It's incredible. My hips were up to it, I'd definitely give it a go.
Sorry, I really need to leave. You're out.
Cool. So I like the laughing.
Sorry, I really need to leave.
Cool. So what we'll do here is a cut on action, because Tom walking towards the camera like this is a nice place for us to cut to one of these mid. And then, as he goes by, please, would you tell me what it feels like? There we go.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like?
I'm not sure I like that delivery.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like?
No, I don't like that delivery. Let's try the other take.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like?
Good. That's a good delivery. I like that one.
See you.
And I think just about there might work. Let's see. Whoops. What did I do? Did I just move my up point around?
You can do anything.
It's me getting my I/O confused.
Sorry, I really need to leave.
Cool.
Sorry, I really need to leave.
We can smooth that out a little bit, but again, first pass, so that's okay.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like?
And I'm torn between trying to get a reaction of Tom when he says please, or if that's probably a second pass thing. I think we just need to get the backbone of this down here first. Although we could play around with that. This is quite a long edit.
would you...
Okay, so this is... I'm going to use Smart Insert here at last. So where's a shot of Tom walking away? Not quite the angle I'm looking for. I think I can probably cheat a close-up here, actually.
Would you tell me what it feels?
So...
Would you tell me what it feels like?
Okay.
Would you...
And then I am just going the Smart Insert there. First time we've used the Smart Insert. It's meant to be like one of the big ones in the cut panel, but I can find it a bit frustrating.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like? Would you
So I think I can get rid of this now.
tell me what it feels like?
So rather than do that, I think I need to trim this down.
Tell me what it...
And I want to roll or slip this along so I just get that kind of look from George. And the timing we'll just have to, like, through the second pass, we'll have to play with that until that feels right. And I think just a few seconds, just to emphasis, because this is something that that George wants as well, because he's in a similar situation to Tom. Only it's not a stranger in a bedsit; it's actually his spouse that's doing that. And there's just this moment where, yeah, he just wants to hear something uplifting, or he just wants Tom to come out with something uplifting. Okay, cool. So I think logically the next thing would be another cheated close-up. I'm gonna just pull in on this a little bit. I want that to be a bit closer. There we go.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like?
And let's see, what else have we got here?
You can do anything. Anything at all.
So the next line is, and you can do anything.
You can do anything.
We're definitely going to have to kind of frame in. I want this to stay on a closer angle, and I don't quite like how George's head is framing everything here, so...
You can do anything.
And I want a bit more hesitation. There we go.
You can do anything.
Cool. We'll shift F12 that in there. And I want to reframe this. And I just want this to look like a close-up or a mid-close-up for Tom.
You can do anything. Anything at all.
Cool. Save. Now, for this next bit, what we have in the script I don't think is exactly what was captured in sequence, so we have to start looking through our takes and seeing what we've got. So let's take a look at some of these shots of George with the skateboard.
You can do anything, Tom. Anything at all.
Okay, it's the nothing and no one line.
Please, would you tell me what it feels like?
Like you can do anything. Anything at all.
And you know, Tom, nobody and nothing should ever stop you from doing that.
I'm always torn on this. I think it's a bit of a chunky line. It doesn't sound great. It always sounds a bit off balance. It always sounds a bit wobbly. So I'm always torn as to what to do with this one. I kind of like the idea of getting rid of that line. But then the next line in the script, which is in the alleyway, seems like a bit of a non sequitur, but then it does kind of come out of nowhere anyway. So it's difficult to know what the best decision is here. Let's cut it according to the script for now. And then we can play around, or you can play around in the second pass. But let's check our takes. I did not like that take at all.
Nothing and nobody should stop you from doing that.
That's a much better delivery. It's just the line itself, to me, is just awkward.
Like you can do anything. Anything at all.
And you know, Tom, nothing and nobody should stop you from doing that.
Okay, let's cut according to the script. For now.
You know, nothing and nobody should stop you from doing that.
A little bit of hesitation at the end there. And then let's just see what we think later on.
And you know, Tom, nothing and nobody should stop you from doing that.
Okay, so the next line was in the alleyway. There is, in the real film, there's a flashback to where Steve is attacking Tom in the alleyway. I have not put that up here. I can't, according to Udemy's guidelines. So we're going to omit that flashback in this exercise. So I want a reaction of Tom. No, that's the wrong one. Where am I? What was the last one? If you lose track of what you're looking at, just right-click on a clip in the timeline, find in Media Pool, just like the edit panel. 103801. Okay, let's take a shifty up here. I've completely neglected to use the source tapes again in the second part of this. I just forget it's there. If I'm not cutting a select reel, I just completely forget about it.
Nothing and nobody should stop you from doing that.
I like that awkward shift of stance, so maybe we can use that as a reaction. And maybe just there, not until he completely starts shifting, but let's just see what that looks like, because it might be a little bit awkward. And it needs to be reframed as well. Okay, normally cutting away from someone in the middle of a movement is a bit odd because it gives us that kind of jarring feel. So we kind of want to see how far we can push this without the cut, and it's just before he starts to shift his stance, I think. So it's probably going to be about there. You never cut on a blink or too close to a blink. That can always be a bit awkward. So I quite like that there. We can play around with that later on, but for now I just want this this reaction here, and the next line is in the alleyway. So let's go back to George.
In the alleyway, he was hurting you.
Okay, now I know I want to do a cut in the middle of that. In the alleyway, we need to see Tom looking really disturbed, because this is a very personal, very uncomfortable thing that a complete stranger has just brought up more or less out of the blue. So if we don't have Tom giving a really kind of disturbed reaction to this, then the beat's going to fall flat. So we need to do this. I'm just going to split that. That's either Control or Command and B. The safety scissors up here. Right click on the orange thing at the top of the playhead and hit the safety scissors. Are the 3 ways of doing that. And we'll do another smart insert here, but I think I'm going to trim these 2 down just a touch. If I were going to do this to second pass, this would totally be J cut. Or L cut, actually. See it before you stop hearing it. So, it's this angle, isn't it? It moves onto a shot of Tom. Okay, that's later on. I think, no, it's not here. It's 38, wasn't it?
In the other way. He was hurting you. I wanted to help him, but I...
Okay. And I just want a little, and we'll smart insert that in there. It does have its uses. Just a little reaction here, and we're going to have to fake a close-up again. Mind you, when you're shooting 4K Red Epic, you can do that.
Yeah, my alleyway. He was...
And I might just start to... Oh, come on, cut panel, don't do this. And I might just, rudimentary little JNL cuts there.
In the alleyway, he was hurting you.
Okay, so that line clearly needs some kind of reaction from Tom. So let's go back up to this take.
I wanted to help, I wanted to stop him.
And I like that reaction there, so I'm going to drag that down. I don't want this... Oh, maybe I do want this audio. Let's take a look.
Well, I wanted to help. I wanted to help, I wanted to...
Maybe.
Stop him, but I couldn't.
I think we tie these 2 together.
Stop him, but
Although he does do that kind of fun-furring noise. I can't zoom in, can I? Because it's the cut panel. Okay, let's see if we can cut this out.
stop him, but...
No, that doesn't work. Okay, so... how best to do this? That audio is not very good. I'm going to right-click this clip and choose mute, because I like that reaction, but I don't like the dialogue in there. So I'm not too bothered about syncing that up. I'm going to zoom in, so let's zoom this in.
I wanted to help. I wanted to stop him.
Okay, so I'm going to put that back here. And I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to make it a small little reaction there.
I wanted to help. I wanted to stop him.
And I think we just extend that a little bit.
I wanted to help. I wanted to stop him.
And then we can extend this out.
I wanted to help. I wanted to stop him, but I couldn't.
Cool, and then we get a... Okay, so there's a line in here that was captured that's not in the script, and that line is, "I don't think anyone can help me," and it's Tom's line. So we just need to get that in there, and then we carry on